realize this promise. The best chance to realize this promise of setting the record straight was this 2026 general election. And that is why I'm fighting tooth and nail to set that record straight. So don't think I'm being belligerent for no reason. I have reasons. And this is a promise I made to my father on his deathbed. I must. I'm going to create enough votes to create a reader. That was 3 years ago. The work which we have done has given us a pathway to create that 50+1. That has created fear on the side of NRA and fear on the side of the president, because the president does not want to go for a second round.
Jimmy Akena has come out to swear that he has a duty of taking General Kaguta Museveni's government home. UPC has a history that General Museveni is the one who took Obote in exile after overthrowing him. Okay? So when Jimmy Akena comes out with that heart, it shows you the fire burning in him to take General Kaguta Museveni home. In fact, I think there are some machinations that stopped him from nominating. I'm the one of the first people who were so excited to see Jim Akena on the ballot, because at least it will bring the 50+1 vote inevitable. Because you all know General Museveni swept the northern region, and UPC in the last election didn't have a presidential candidate, and he didn't work with any opposition leader. I myself am a believer of, if Jimmy Akena had run for president, he would cut out the vote block in the northern, as Bobo Wine cast out in central and some parts of the east. Then General Museveni will be kicked out. Even Jimmy Akena has that in mind. Okay? In fact, to confirm my words, he came out to speak about this, that he made a promise to his father on his deathbed that he was to take General Museveni home. In fact, listen to this tape very carefully, because it's going to form a basis for a discussion. Here's the tape.
Members of Congress, I have got some critical issues to address. And this touches on the question of the nomination and the 2026 general election. Let me start by giving some personal background. In 2005, I first returned in April. That time we had a consultative group meeting at Christ the King. Immediately after that, I went north in May, and I stayed in Uganda for about 3 months, and then I went back to Zambia. On the 11th of September 2005, I came back to Uganda. If you recall, on 19th of September that same year, we had branch elections. My branch elections were at Cultural Center, so that time the elections were at parish level. And basically from then, activity started. My father had gone to South Africa on the 12th of September. We made arrangements for him to go to South Africa, and then I left to come back to Uganda. After the branch elections, I came back to Kampala, and then his health deteriorated as we entered into October. 2 months. So on the 10th of October, my father passed away. When he passed away, I was at the hospital with him, together with my mother, and there were others. But as he was passing, I made a promise to him. I was holding on to his left arm, my mother was on his right side, and there were other people in the room. But I made a solemn promise to my father as he passed. And what I told him was to let go and go with Jesus, because I will set the record straight. That record touches on the economic, the political, and everything to do with Milton Obote. So as we enter this 2026 election, for me, it is more than just an election, more than just UPC. It is much deeper on my side. And this is a solemn promise which I have made, which is not easy or possible at least on my side, to withdraw from that promise. And that is where some people have misunderstood me, saying Akena has become so wild, Akena is ready to whatever. Akena made a promise. Akena has created avenues to realize this promise. The best chance to realize this promise of setting the record straight was this 2026 general election. And that is why I am fighting tooth and nail to set that record straight. So don't think I'm being belligerent for no reason. I have reasons. And this is a promise I made to my father on his deathbed. I must.
That is Jimmy Akena. First of all, in all presidential candidates apart from Bobi Wine, Jimmy Akena has an advantage because he has a stronghold. Other opposition leaders don't have a stronghold. If you speak about UPC in language, the majority in the local government, it has a big representation in the north. And after, by the way, strategizing, shifting his wife to one MP and other constituencies, he was going to sweep the Lango sub-region. If he had run for presidency at 98%, that would count out the voting basket of General Kaguta Museveni. Since he's now not running, I preferred for him to support Bobi Wine so that they can make an alliance. I don't know how far it is, but let me concentrate on what Jimmy Akena said. You remember, his father was overthrown by the same regime. It's the reason as to why even General Museveni is working hard. He put the first lady of UPC, Betty Amongi, in NRM to make it look like as if he's working with the entire UPC. General Museveni is playing such politics which the opposition failed to play because opposition leaders are running in solitary wars. Okay? In fact, there is a tape that showed Jimmy Akena and his mother moving out of State House in sorrow. In fact, here's a tape.
Ex-President. This is Peter Stewart in Kampala, in Uganda, on the... Your husband, personally? No, I haven't. Has he not been able to communicate with you since he was overthrown?
But there's been a lot of popular demonstration, as far as we can see in the city, against your... Said, though, that he might come back. When you heard that, were you pleased to hear that, or were you a little sad that?
Well, I was worried. I don't know in what condition he's going to come back.
As a Ugandan yourself, Madam Abati, what do you think of the future of the country now?
It's difficult to tell.
But do you think it's going to be hopeful that all the people and all the tribes and all the classes are going to be living together properly?
So politics is a very difficult thing. And I wouldn't like to say anything about politics.
But would you like to send a message to your husband now?
Yes.
Would you say your message?
Well, the children and myself send him our love, and we hope he's all right.
Anything more?
That's all we can say at the moment.
Madam Abati, good luck.
Thank you.
Can you tell us just briefly before you go how you're spending your day? I mean, how you're able to pass the time? You listen to the news bulletins, presumably, and...
Yes, I listen to the news bulletin. I've got the boys to look after. And, you know, we get worried about the whole situation.
Indeed.
Did you know that your husband was building up his own private army? Did you ever suspect that?
I don't know a thing.
Thank you.
I've been a full-time housewife. And that's why I know you ask me anything about that.
That's what you want to stay, presumably, is it?
Yes. I'm a politician's wife, but I don't know most of these things.
Yes, fine. But you and your children, for the moment, are as happy as can be expected.
Yes.
Good.
We are doing our best.
Doing your best.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you for talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Just like to walk away, naturally, with the children in the middle. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Nice to see you. Right.
Good stuff, eh?
Huh? Yeah.
seem to be under control. Yes. Nothing emotional. Yeah. Doesn't seem emotional. Under control.
I think I better quit.
That is when they were being chased in State House. So when he comes out to say that he has a fire burning in him, okay, a promise he made his father is right because he knows what to do. Remember, this country still has first sons. Former Jimmy Akena is the first son. The Kabaka of Uganda is the first son. Yusuf is the first son. Sons of Idi Amin is the first son. All of them have been compromised to enter government, forgetting the duty they are supposed to do. 40 years is enough. Jimmy Akena has a role to play in taking General Museveni home. Okay? He has a role to play to make General Museveni 51, the 50+1 vote refuse. In fact, here's the tape when he was elaborating.
About 3 years ago, something happened, and then I promised politically what route I'm going to use to bring us to a situation whereby, at that time I said I'm going to force a situation where we're going to get a 50+1 rerun. I'm going to create enough votes to create a rerun. That was 3 years ago. The work which we have done has given us a pathway to create that 50+1. That has created fear on the side of NRA and fear on the side of the president, because the president does not want to go for a second round. And for me, in this context and the context of where members were concerned, I approached. I went to see the president to clear the air. And what I got from the president is he's adamant that my contestation will weaken his position. But my contestation has nothing to do with him. This is something which is, for me as UPC, and me personally as a son of Obote, I want to set the record straight. I didn't go to seek permission. I don't need to get permission. What I needed was to be nominated. And after meeting all the legal requirements, there was no legal reason. The only reason why I have not been nominated to this point is political. And in the meeting, the president made it very clear. I will not be nominated because it will weaken him. But this is outside the law. It is more ironical for me as a son of Obote, who was accused of rigging the 1980 elections. Constantly. The same president said, Obote rigged. And that was the justification for him going to the bush. This in itself should be proof. Should be proof to many that Obote did not rig. But what is taking place here is more than rigging. How do you have the chief executive involved with the electoral commission, involved with court, with clear issue of what they expect of UPC? So if you expect Akena to bow down, or else the threat which is there in court, which is why I also asked members of cabinet here and MPs, the threat in court is that they're going to give us a ruling which is going to make it impossible to run the party, to create absolute chaos. That threat was there. And that is the threat under which they are saying that I should agree not to be nominated or whatever basis so that I can remain and do whatever. For me, I'm beyond that one. Where I've reached is beyond that one. Right now we are here, or at least in my case, I am here to set the record straight. I can prove UPC's record in the 60s. I can prove UPC's record in the 80s. UPC came with the most practical, bankable program to recover Uganda after the Liberation War. I will defend that record. I'll defend the record of Milton Obote. I will never compromise that one. But I have also made it clear, if the cost of doing so means you put me in the ground, I'm ready for that also. And that is the thing which I told most of my leaders before I started on this journey. You weigh the cost of the journey, you weigh the outcome. In my particular case, I'm ready for whichever outcome. but I cannot compromise the values, I cannot compromise what Obote stood for, and I cannot compromise what UPC stands for. So therefore, I am ready to talk, but I'm not ready to compromise. And therefore, I'm urging the members of UPC, stand strong, stand firm. What is being done in bad faith because the reality has come forth. We are on the right track. I do not see any situation whereby I can change my position. I can't.
Thank you very much.
I can't. I stand for what Congress stands for. I stand for the truth. And in this campaign, my key objective was to set the record straight. And I'll set the record straight economically, politically, across the board. That's why I must be on the ballot. Let me speak to the people of Uganda. Let the people of Uganda reject me. Let this long history that UPC rigged, UPC were killers, let us address it. That's why I want to be on the ballot. Not to be hidden away. So I'm not running. I'm not turning around. I am going to face this thing head on. But what has been done is wrong. What has been done is wrong. And the president is clearly involved. Is this the democracy they fought for?
That is Jimmy Akena. So for me, first of all, Jimmy Akena is a smart man. He was born by a smart father. But the Obote is one of the smart politicians who came from a Kokurumeda alliance with the Kabaka of Uganda, one of the high-ranking person by that time. If you're looking for a stupid person, you cannot go on Obote's door. Obote is one of the leaders who led Uganda 2 times. There are not so many in the world. So he's not stupid. Okay. And for me, I think even Jimmy Akena took part of the brains of his father. If I told Jimmy Akena can be magnanimous to sit down with one of the biggest forces like Bobby Wine, they can have a game changer. Me personally, I believe that he was going to run. But since he's not running, there must be an alliance between them if they want to make a game changer. Of course, with the alliance to speak who's supposed to take this position in Lango, who to support, either Bobby to campaign for APC candidates or some or half of them, depending on what they agree. So you clearly see that the fire in Jimmy Akena is burning. But my advice to Jimmy Akena is, you've been in parliament for 20 years. At least instead of being outside, you should go back and run as MP. Secondly, I don't believe in term limits when you fail to get to power, unless the members of the party overthrow you. But if they still want you before you get state power, you're free to lead the party for as long as gains are seen. The only thing I don't believe in is for you to stay as a party leader when you are not getting diminishing returns. For example, like Norbert Mao, who is the leader of DP, the more he has stayed, the more DP is going down in terms of representation. Okay? But if you are the leader, because after ever since Obote gone, it's only Jimmy Akena who has made the party vibrant to an extent that I think this year he was seen going in Western region of campaign before even when as president. So you clearly see he has a fire to bring change in this country. But trust me, change cannot be brought if they don't work together. Dictators are won as a team. And I pray these people work together. Of course, this might be and remain yours truly, Mr. Makinde, Kavya Sulaiman Mawagri, the next MP for Makinde constituency. I'll see you on another one. Peace.